Alright, it's here, the Star Wars story I've waited for life. But quick shout out first, this video is brought to you by AG1 by Athletic Greens. Gonna talk about that a little later in the video, but first we have a Star Wars series, well, not a series. First 2 episodes of a series to talk about, and that's Star Wars Inquisitor. So Star Wars Inquisitor follows an Inquisitor known as Third Sister. She's searching for Obi-Wan Kenobi, trying to weed him out, and the show itself is actually weirdly titled Obi-Wan Kenobi. I say kind of in jest, but only kind of. In a world where we should try to balance sugar and spice, what I liked about the show, 2 scenes in particular really stood out. One, we kind of saw a glimpse of in the trailer, so we already knew it was going to, is when Obi-Wan's talking to Owen. When the time comes, he must be trained, like he trained his father. Because in the original Star Wars movie, we saw that there was tension between those two somewhere in their past. And we see a little more of it here, but now Obi-Wan's off of Tatooine, so we might not see any more. I don't know. And the other scene, spoiler alert, I should tell you that. Gonna talk about spoilers in the first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Not gonna be a play-by-play as usual, but you know. And the last scene where Reva is taunting Obi-Wan and talking about Darth Vader and Anakin Skywalker, and Obi-Wan, Ewan sells it. You see the pain and realization in this guy's eyes, where it's like these Inquisitors are not the Emperor's Inquisitors. No, this is his former friend, his old friend, who's out there killing Jedi. They work for him. I'd throw up. He looked like he wanted to. I can't stress how important it was for them to air the 2nd episode along with the first, because if it just left off where the first episode left off, I'd be like, okay, I guess I'll wait and binge it. So basically, Inquisitor Reva knows that Obi-Wan was friends with Bail Organa, and so she orchestrates this whole plot to have Bail Organa's daughter, Leia, kidnapped to weed Obi-Wan out. And so Obi-Wan goes and rescues her, and she's like, ah, gotcha. And that's the point of, well, the show, or at least the first 2 episodes of the show, which really does kind of fuck with the continuity. There's actually a few things in here that messes with continuity. But it messes with the continuity of comment replies that I get when I gripe about the fact that in the original trilogy, people don't really remember Jedi. They're almost mythical 20 years after the fact, when they were the generals of the clone army in this all-encompassing, galaxy-encompassing civil war known as the Clone Wars. I feel like more people would remember them. But the argument is the Empire was like, all right, they deleted information about Jedi, you know, they can control information like that, or as they called it in the Empire, fact-checking. Apparently not very well, because this lady kind of sniffed out that Obi-Wan Kenobi and Bail Organa were friends. Because you see Alderaan, and until Jimmy Smits's Bail Organa shows up, which I love seeing Jimmy Smits as Bail Organa. Every time I see him, like even in Rogue One, I was like, oh shit! All the Alderaan stuff felt weirdly out of place until Leia being kidnapped became the point of the show. At least the first 2 episodes. And I was like, oh, so that weirdly out of place thing just kind of became the point. Fair enough. So Bail Organa goes to Tatooine, goes to Obi-Wan, which if Inquisitor Reva followed Bail Organa's ship, she would have found Obi-Wan. Could have saved us a lot of filler. Well, Bail Organa is pretty much like, Obi-Wan, we're pals. My daughter, who's the Princess of Alderaan's being kidnapped. Could I amass a royal guard to go find her? Could I probably get a couple planets behind me searching for her as well? Yes. Also, I've tracked their ship, so we know exactly where she is. Obi-Wan goes to this scumbag planet where some of the dumbest decision-making I've seen in Star Wars history, at least on screen, took place. One of which stands out is this dude who's faking being a Jedi to basically scam people out of money. I could see someone doing that when the Clone Wars were going down, sure. Also, him even doing this now shows that people do remember Jedi, so the whole argument that they don't. But some years after the Jedi were declared terrorists, this guy's like, hey, I'm gonna fake being a Jedi to make some coin. Also, I'm gonna do that in a city where there's a clone trooper. That's like some years after 9/11 being like, I'm gonna fake being a terrorist because I think I can make some quick cash. Also, in the same city Jack Bauer lives. It just doesn't seem smart. Not that this dude who's faking being a Jedi would know that this homeless clone trooper has programming in his brain to kill Jedi, but it is kind of weird that this homeless clone trooper who has programming in his brain to kill Jedi isn't trying to kill the guy who's trying to pretend to be a Jedi. Also, the clone trooper is one of the coolest parts of these first 2 episodes, man. It's like the clone troopers were disbanded. I always think, like, what happened to them? So here's one of them just holding out his helmet begging for change. There's no fight for him anymore. The Empire's like, yeah, bye. We use stormtroopers now. I don't know. It was cool to see. Also, wasted opportunity. I personally think it would have been badass after Inquisitor Reva sends out this APB for Obi-Wan Kenobi. That clone trooper should have been like, Jedi. Dumped the change out of his helmet, put his helmet on, and went to work. Because good soldiers follow orders. That's what that clone trooper knows. He still has that programming in his head. The reason he's not out there trying to kill Jedi is because he doesn't think there are any Jedi around. The moment some APB comes around town and says, hey, by the way, Obi-Wan Kenobi, find this Jedi, he should have put the helmet on and gone to work. That would have been pretty awesome. In terms of continuity lore breaking, some things, I mean, there's an argument for and against, but I can't help but see the for. Can't help but see the fact that it's like, there are things that happen in here that I don't think it makes sense. First of which is third sister stabbing Grand Inquisitor. First of all, Grand Inquisitor should have deflected that lightsaber and they should have gotten into a fight at least. But you know, I mean, the dude's called Grand Inquisitor. She probably wouldn't live through it. So maybe the thought is like, oh, we brought Darth Maul back. I mean, he got sliced in half and fell down a pit. It's pretty hard to live through. This dude just got stabbed. Guess we can bring him back. You keep killing people and bringing them back. It just kind of negates the profound nature of death in Star Wars. So now Obi-Wan knows Anakin's alive, at least in the physical sense. I mean, Vader's alive. He's now, it looks like the series is going to be like, all right, he wants to go find him. Which makes me feel like this whole thing could have been condensed into a movie. I can't help but see wasted time in an Obi-Wan series because they wanted to build up an Inquisitor's storyline, which an Inquisitor's story, an Inquisitor's series, absolutely. There's a place for that. Is an Obi-Wan series a place for that? Not as they've executed it thus far, so I can't help but see it as just some sort of conflicting waste of time. There is an Order 66 scene. As much as I love me a good Order 66 scene, I feel like they kind of jumped the gun. They should have had the Order 66 flashback scene episode 3, maybe 4. Because it's been over 15 years now since we last saw Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan Kenobi. The intro scene to this series should have been Obi-Wan Kenobi doing something. It should have been set up for his character. It's his show. As it stands, the intro scene, the setup scene, is the Order 66 scene for Third Sister, this Inquisitor Reva character. I wonder if that Order 66 scene is gonna explain how she knows that Anakin Skywalker is Darth Vader. People aren't supposed to know that. Maybe when she was running, she saw Anakin just slaughtering Jedi, and maybe some of the clone troopers were like, Lord Vader, they're hiding over here. And she was like, oh, put it all together when I was a kid. It's either that or Darth Vader when he's in his hyperbaric jizz bath is just like, let me tell you about my past. Like, that, no. Even then, if she had any FaceTime with Vader whatsoever, I feel like he would sense that. He'd be like, your thoughts betray you. You know my backstory. Well, you know what? That's not gonna work for me. That was an epic shot, though, when Obi-Wan was sitting there and he was like, Anakin, and it snapped to Darth Vader in his hyperbaric bath. But he's just there, and you hear the breathing, and I mean, I like that shot when it was in Star Wars Theory's fan film as well. I'm not saying they ripped it off from Star Wars Theory. I'm just saying if Star Wars Theory, who does have a YouTube channel dedicated to talking Star Wars, if he sees this episode and that shot and he's like, did they just... He would be forgiven for thinking that. You know that was part of the conversation. They were like, we saw that fan film. We like that shot. We're totally gonna use it. In the end, what I liked in these two episodes, it's like they're bookends. We have one thing over here near the beginning, one thing at the end. Other than Ewan McGregor, who always commits, he's always great, but I liked Uncle Owen, and I liked when Obi-Wan Kenobi found out that Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader, is very much alive and out there. In between's a whole lot of filler, which is doing exactly what I was afraid the series would do. Bigger's always better. You just gotta jam-pack it with a bunch of stuff, but what they took on was a very personal story of one man's tragedy. The tragedy of his life, his legacy, his friendship. I don't think he had to do this Leia got kidnapped side filler story in order to get Obi-Wan Kenobi to find out that Darth Vader is alive and Anakin is alive and he's out there. Because that is the point. Like, if you think, oh, to what end is this happening? Like, that is the point of all that happening. Obi-Wan could have heard it from an Inquisitor on Tatooine, either directly or indirectly. Or, I mean, he is on Tatooine. He could have taken a page from his old friend Anakin's book and listened to all the traitors and star pilots who come through there. Point is, he could have learned that Darth Vader is out there and alive while he was on Tatooine. I mean, that could have been the first 15 minutes of the show, which probably could be condensed into a movie. But we have 4 more episodes of the show, so I imagine there's just gonna be a lot of filler getting to the meat of what fans want. But I am interested in how they do the face-to-face of Obi-Wan and Darth Vader. I mean, I'm more interested in the dialogue. I mean, Obi-Wan, Darth Vader, they're probably gonna fight, yeah. But I am more interested in the conversation between the two leading up to that almost inevitable fight. And now a sponsorship segment so epic, it actually made me grow my hair back. And as mentioned earlier in this video is brought to you by AG1 Biathletic Greens, which a couple months ago became part of my every morning daily routine and has remained so. I love it. Each scoop of AG1 is packed with probiotics and vitamins, which helps in your daily physical health routine as well as brain health. Just having it in the morning personally helps me feel perfectly balanced, as all things should be. Get yourself 1 scoop of AG1, water, ice, oatmeal, banana, put it in a blender. Blend to perfection, you have yourself a nice morning shake to get your day started. Power stance! But also if you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free, you can still have AG1. So click the link below and get yourself a year's supply of vitamin D3, K2, and 5 travel packs for free with your first purchase. And thank you once again to Athletic Greens for sponsoring this video. I do appreciate it. Alright, so Obi-Wan Kenobi episodes 1 and 2, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Whatever you thought, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.